Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the tuning guide series. So today we are covering anti-roll bars, and this might be the shortest episode as there isn't much about them, but we'll see. Be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you don't miss the next episode when I try to give you way too many details about spring rates and how to use them. But anyways, let's get into it. So here is our now painted and slightly built R33 Skyline. So today we're talking about anti-roll bars, and how we use them. There is many different methods and ways. I'll start off with a pretty basic way, then we'll talk about the types of ways you can use them, then I'll give you my way of tuning them. So firstly, what you're going to need is the anti-roll bars. Typically most cars this cost maybe 1 pi point, so you can almost always put these on your cars, and they make a pretty good impact on the handling, so I typically always put them on. But just be sure that you put both the front and the back on. If you only have one, it won't be as much of a help as it could be. So now tuning the anti-roll bars can be very simple. Firstly, I'm going to show you a cheese method that is very simple, but will make your suspension tuning more difficult, as you will really need to balance it out. This is the 165 method. A lot of people use this. I personally don't like this. The issue with this is it might make tuning faster, but then your suspension tuning has to be that much more dialed in, because if it's not almost perfect, the 165 method will have way too much turn in and make it handle very badly. Also, this is just harder to drive, when I can achieve the same amount of cornering potential with a much easier handling tune. So the stock setup is this. This would be fine for a rear-wheel drive car, as rear-wheel drive cars want to naturally oversteer with throttle input, so having the rear softer than the front creating understeer is a good thing. This is fine for being stable, but this will create some understeer in an all-wheel drive car that already wants to understeer. This just really isn't beneficial. So we've already covered Horizon cheese method. Now let's cover the stiff way of tuning them. So the point of the anti-roll bars is to control the weight transfer when turning. The transfer from left to right. Typically for road cars, a very stiff anti-roll bar is really handy. Personally, I like the body roll, so I run soft, but this doesn't affect the suspension that much. This purely handles the left and right movement for front and rear, meaning typically off-road racing would actually have stiff anti-roll bars, because it helps them control the body weight during cornering, letting them potentially corner faster. The reason they may not have a front anti-roll bar is because clearance, because if you disconnect this in a real car, your suspension can move more freely, especially in a car with independent suspension. But we're not doing that here. So, what I learned to do when I first started tuning, I would even these out as step 1. So this is kinda a beginner trick I used to do, but I wanna share this with you guys. It doesn't need to be exact like this, but firstly try some stiffness settings with an even balance, meaning the front and rear are roughly the same stiffness. This way that you're not creating oversteer or understeer, you're just trying to figure out what you like stiffness wise. So let's test this. This is roughly in the middle of stiffness, then we'll go down to 10 pounds, then up to 50 pounds to see the differences.
You've arrived at your destination. You have arrived at your destination.
So if you didn't notice, the main difference between a soft anti-roll bar and a stiff anti-roll bar is the response of them. As you seen, the 10-pound roll bars was pretty lenient, not as responsive, and would let the car kinda float through the corner, where the stiff or anti-roll bar was way more responsive, would jolt the car with a little bit of input, and this is very personalized. Just because you like stiff anti-roll bars or soft doesn't mean your tune is going to be slower or faster. The stiffness is your personal choice. The balance is what really makes a difference. Now for you guys, I'm going to do a stiff setup. Just keep in mind it's pretty much the same for a soft setup. The only disadvantage of a stiff anti-roll bar setup, you're more likely to disturb the car while one side is going over bumps, meaning if my right two tires was over bumps and my left two tires was on a flat plane, then it will react a lot more than a soft setup would. But again, you also get very responsive turn in, so it's pretty touchy. But figure out what you like. Now the balance. When we say balance, we're referring to the oversteer or understeer of the car, so I want you to keep this in mind. Anti-roll bars control turn-in balance, springs control mid-corner balance, and damping controls corner exit balance. But also remember, as you mess with one part it might change the other two parts. So say I stiffen the front springs. That might cause a little bit of turn-in understeer while causing a major mid-corner understeer, and as I soften my front anti-roll bar it might cause a little mid-corner oversteer and it will cause major turn-in oversteer. So the game really is just messing with it until you find a really healthy balance, but there is more to it. So firstly I say I want my stiffness to be around 50 pounds, or whatever you might choose, but it understeers in corner entry. There is two ways to fix this. The first way is we could stiffen the rear anti-roll bar, making the front anti-roll bar softer than the rear, or we could do the opposite, we could soften the front anti-roll bar, making the front softer than the rear. Same thing, the goal is to find the balance. When you're starting your tune, go by 5 pounds, so I'm going to soften the front anti-roll bar by 5 pounds, meaning we're at 50 pounds, my front will be 45 pounds now.
You've arrived at your destination. You've arrived at your destination.
So now I still feel like I can get more out of it. I'm going to take off 5 more pounds from the front anti-roll bar and test again.
You've arrived at your destination. You've arrived at your destination.
Now for example, let's say I get all the way here, and now it's oversteering too much. There is two options. One, we can go back £5 and call that good, because once you reach the threshold of too much oversteer, you know you're within £5 of the perfect value for your car, meaning instead of taking back £5, so say I'm here at £35, £40 felt good but I could get more, 35 is too much, I'd start slowly adding it back in, so £36 test, £37 test, and we might just land on £38. And it feels like it could use more oversteer, leading us to say £37 with a £50 rear anti-roll bar is the perfect value. So now we're doing tracks and finding out maybe this setup was too stiff, so we want to soften our balance. All you simply need to do is keep within the same front and rear difference. So we're at £37 in the front and 50 in the rear, that means a £13 difference. So if we put down to a £10 front anti-roll bar, we would need a £23 rear anti-roll bar.
You've arrived at your destination. You've arrived at your destination.
And same if we want to stiffen it. So let's say I want to try and get a £55 front anti-roll bar. What's 55 plus 13? That's 68. Well, be careful, see here the max stiffness the anti-roll bars can go is 65. So simply 65 minus 13 is 52, so we know the only way to have the same balance with max stiffness is to soften the front more than we'd want, in this case being 52 instead of 55. But it really is that simple. The biggest thing is setting up that balance. Now my personal choice for anti-roll bars, I almost always use around £20, so I run a pretty soft anti-roll bar setup simply so that if I jump over curbs it doesn't disrupt the car as much as it would with this setup.
You've arrived at your destination.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Next episode we'll be tuning suspension. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to turn on the post notifications so that you don't miss any future episodes. Be sure to comment down below any questions, comments, and leave your tips and tricks for anyone else that you want to share. I hope everyone has a wonderful day or night. Be sure to check the description to find the Discord, Patreon, and Twitch where we stream every Monday and Tuesday, as well as the Kick where we stream every Thursday and Friday. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.